Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this month's training and development workshop with me, Julie Cameron, your LoveBiz host this afternoon. And today we have the absolute pleasure of having Lindsay Byrne, the cognitive health coach, talking to us about how to improve our brain health and how to improve our menopausal brain fog. So, without further ado, ladies, I have the absolute pleasure of introducing Lindsay. Lindsay, over to you.
Thank you very much, Julie. Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. I'm going to kick off immediately with a poll just to catch you out. Let's see if that works. Hopefully you can all see that and can all, oh yes, that seems to be working now. So the question is, what brings you here today? Now, I know you are likely to be here for some networking. You might also be just interested in the brain. You might have or had menopausal or other brain fog. It doesn't always have to be menopausal. It can be post-infection like long COVID. Maybe you had parents with dementia as well. I think I've set that up as multiple answer, so you can choose more than one. Okay, so I'll just give that a few minutes, not minutes, a few seconds, a few more seconds for everyone to say what they think. I think nothing's moved for a moment. Oh, no, just moving. Okay, I'm going to wrap that up in the next 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That was a very fast 5 seconds. I'm ending the poll. And I'm sharing the results so that you can see. So, you are here for network. Well, we're not actually going to be networking, are we? So, you're kind of here, though, to see the faces. Lots of people just generally interested in the brain. Lots of you have had some menopausal or other brain fog. And just one of you, well, two, because me too, had parents with dementia. Well, that's nice. I'm glad. Not glad for the person who has, glad for the rest of you. Because horrible, horrible disease. All right, I'm going to stop sharing that. Thank you, everybody, for joining in and playing along. I'm going to share some slides, as you would expect. Here we go. Hopefully everybody can see those. Give me a real yes. Good. All right, so I am the cognitive health coach. I'm going to talk to you today about improving your brain health and memory, preventing dementia. But what I should have added on there is also to improve menopausal symptoms generally and to improve menopausal brain fog specifically. I am going to give you some dementia examples as we go. I'm kind of stuck with it because my mum's dementia journey and my menopausal brain fog journey are so intertwined. So I'll give you some dementia examples as we go as well. But to be fair, it's all the same causes and it's all the same symptoms and it's all the same solutions. So I'm going to give you lots of tips during this. But before I get into tips, I thought I'd just spend a minute or two talking about my story and my mum's story a little bit. Isn't that a great photo? I wish I still looked like that. There's lots of photographers in the group, aren't there? And I keep thinking, should I get new photos? But I really like it. I don't want to look like this. I want to look like that. Anyway, onto the story. Some of you have heard some of my story in the past, and normally when I tell a story, it's mainly about my mum. So I'll minimise that because some of you might have heard some of it, but I will definitely tell you a bit more about my menopausal journey. So let's say about 8 years ago, my brother and I noticed my mum's memory was getting a bit dodgy, and we noticed that she would guess at answers and try and hide it. So it was not clear how bad it was. She was quite good at hiding it, I would say, until the pandemic hit. I was in the process of moving mum and dad into a retirement village when the pandemic hit and we lost our house sale and had to resell the house in the pandemic. And I don't know if it was the stress of the move actually made her worse or whether it was that she just couldn't hide it as well because there was a lot of new and different things happening, like people visiting and us going around selling off furniture and all sorts. So I don't know if it became harder to hide or whether it was both of those things, but it struck us that things were definitely worse than we'd thought. I did get her into the retirement village on the first release of lockdown, which was about mid-July, I think. We got them both, mum and dad, into the retirement village. So things got a little bit better for them from there. I felt they were more safe. But what had been happening to me all throughout this was that, oh, sorry, I was just trying to let someone in. Yes, so what happened to me all throughout this was when the pandemic hit, my business fell apart. I'd been doing leadership development, executive coaching, team coaching. Well, there was none of that in the pandemic. I actually felt like I was locked down before anyone else, locked down 2 weeks before anyone else, because I came back from Northern Italy when it hit Northern Italy and Northern Italy was locked down. I came back on the Sunday, and on the Monday, I wasn't planning any work. I was on the Tuesday onwards, but on Monday, every single client phoned me up, said, "We know where you've been. You're not coming. You're cancelled." So I felt like I was in lockdown for a couple of weeks, even before everybody else got into lockdown. Now, I know lots of people took the pandemic as an opportunity to get fit. Everyone was Joe Wixing. Everybody was being healthy. Not me. I didn't react well to this. The sudden taking away of all my sense of purpose in life, the massive stress of having no work, nothing to do, no income. And don't feel sorry for me. We were fine. My husband is in a very good job. He earns lots of money. And if anything, he was busier than ever. But that made it worse. He was at home and I saw him less. Looking back, I was depressed. I didn't always get out of bed. If I did get out of bed, I didn't always have a shower. Sometimes I hung around in my dressing gown all day. I mean, it was not pretty. And I ate some rubbish, and I probably drank a bit more wine than usual. And my menopause symptoms hit overnight. I went from absolutely fine one day to 30 hot flushes the next day. And not like, oh, I'm a little bit hot. I mean, drenched. And then freezing because I was drenched. To the point where I didn't even believe it was menopause. I thought there was something actually wrong with me because I just didn't realise menopause could come on that harshly, that quickly. Now I'm going to put it down to the stress and the rubbish I was eating and the wine. Mainly because I have always been interested in nutrition. I've always looked after myself. I've never drank that much. And I've never really eaten rubbish. I've always eaten very carefully. But obviously everything went out the window. So I think all of those things conspired to start these symptoms. So what happened next? I decided to pull myself together and to get out of bed and have a shower and to get on a diet and look after myself. Now, every diet I've done in recent years, I've always done the ketogenic diet. Give me a thumbs up if you've heard of the keto diet, or a yes or no in the chat box. I'm seeing some real life human thumbs ups in the screen. So we've heard of this. It's always worked for me in the past. I thought, well, let's do that again. Okay, so this time I went online to basically just get some accountability, to talk to some of the people who are doing it, get a bit of moral support. I've never done that before, but when you're on your own, locked down, and you want nobody to talk to, you might as well. So I went online and I was in this keto forum. It was really, really helpful, and there was lots of lovely people in there. And one of the chaps in there told me that he was not trying to lose weight. In fact, he was very thin. He told me he was doing it to reverse his symptoms of Alzheimer's, and he flashed this book up in the camera. And I was like, what? You can reverse your symptoms of Alzheimer's? Surely not. How? So, of course, I had a conversation with him outside the forum. We did a Skype for about an hour. He sounded fine to me. Talked to him for an hour. He knew what was going on. You could tell he was totally with it. His story was that he had noticed the symptoms in his mid-30s. In his mid-40s, he'd had to give up his job as a management consultant because he couldn't hide it anymore. I was meeting him in his late 50s, and he had found this protocol in the previous 3 years. So, had this conversation with him. He sent me, well, I saw the book, I just got the book for myself. He sent me links to videos of interviews with doctors. He sent me lots of links to clinical trials. I spent 3 or 4 days just immersed, just reading, watching, learning everything I could. And then as fast as I could, got my mum on the protocol. And I want to stop talking about dementia now and talk about menopause, really. So just to wrap that up, Mum improved within a few months significantly to the point where everyone was noticing. She is pretty stable. So this has been 5 years. She's been not even wholly on the protocol. She does the bits she wants to and not all of it. But anyway, I'm happy because she's stable. So what happened to me? I decided this was it. This was my new purpose in life. This is what I should do. And of course, I had nothing to do, so I had plenty of time to retrain. I retrained as a functional medicine health coach, first of all, which means I can help people with any chronic condition to improve their symptoms with diet and lifestyle. And then I did the Alzheimer's specialization, which is either called the Bredesen protocol after its founder, Dr. Bredesen, or sometimes called RECODE or PRECODE. RECODE is reversal of cognitive decline. PRECODE is prevention of cognitive decline. And you know what? I improved my menopause symptoms even before I started the RECODE training. Just doing the functional medicine training, I learned so much about menopause and so much about nutrition and so much about lifestyle. And having always been interested in this stuff and always Googling it for myself and always thought I was looking after myself, it came as a bit of a surprise to me how much I was missing by doing just what I thought sounded right. Anyway, improved my symptoms. I had hot flushes, I had night sweats, and I had menopausal brain fog, to the point where I got lost twice in the car locally, where I should have known where I was. And the biggest moment, the point that I thought this cannot go on, I was playing Connect 4 with a friend, and she is not competitive. She doesn't even try to play games. She's just joining in, you know, and having fun. I am hideously competitive. I strategize. I used to always win. I don't think I ever remember her winning. And we played 4 games on the trot and she won all 4 games. And I was playing the games and I was so confused. I couldn't see where to go to make a line and to set up a line and to block her. I lost 4 times on the trot. She laughed. I laughed. I wasn't laughing inside. I was dying inside thinking, oh my God, what is wrong with me? But I cleared all that up within a matter of months, just with diet and lifestyle. So that is my story. I've already asked you this question. I did it all in the wrong order. I asked you why you're here today. I did the poll. I did it early. Never mind. Let's move on. You've already told me. All right. So these days, this is what I do. I help people noticing any change in their memory, if they're a bit worried about the future, whether that's through menopause or long COVID or whatever cause, or worried that this might be something worse, might be dementia. Pretty much I have learned over the last 3 years of doing this that people have got to be pretty determined to have a go and to fight back. You've got to throw yourself into it a bit. Not to say that I'm not there to help people get over the humps, because that's what a health coach does. But you know, you've got to want to do it. I'm just basically saying sometimes I've had people bring their partner and they want it for their partner, but the partner's not up for it. That doesn't work. I've learned that. And basically people looking for a way forward, not sure where to start, need a bit of advice. Quite often people are confused about the very mixed messages in the media about what is healthy and what is not. So basically I can help people sort that stuff out. Here are a whole bunch of really accessible books and things that you could look at if you were interested. I'm going to do a little bit of scribbling on the screen because the one I would recommend for menopause would be this one by Dr. Lisa Mosconi. Anyone who watched that menopause thing with Davina McCall will recognise Dr. Lisa Mosconi was the doctor who did a couple of little interviews on that. Frankly, all of these books are coming at the same thing with the same underlying root causes and the same solutions. It's just Dr. Mosconi, her book is a little bit more tailored to menopause, and she gives you lots of advice on plant estrogens if you are not up for HRT, which, you know, lots of us aren't for very good reasons, me included. So, but no judgment, you do what you need to do. Okay, so that is the one I would recommend. Obviously, I'm going to recommend this one because that's my book. Thank you, Claire. Claire designed that beautiful cover, and she typeset and she made it all beautiful, and she helped with the marketing plan. So shout out to Claire, thank you. And this is the book that I said was the first book I read. And this is the Dr. Bredesen. I've just scribbled over his name. Dr. Bredesen is the doctor whose protocol I follow. All of these doctors have got protocols. Dr. Bredesen's protocol is the most advanced. I think he keeps the most up to date with the latest research, and he has the most resources for clients. So it's the easiest, it's the most practical one. Anywho, just thought I'd share that with you. Happy to share slides as well, by the way, at the end, so I can send them on to Julie, and she can. Oh, I could just put them in the group, can't I? I'll put them in the group. All right, moving on. Let's take a big step back from dementia, from menopause, and just think bigger picture. There are, seems to me, more chronic conditions these days. I know when I was a kid, I didn't know any kids with asthma. How many kids have got asthma now? When I was about 11 or 12, I saw a programme on the TV about cancer. And at that time, it really scared me. They said, in your lifetime, you will know somebody who gets cancer. And now it's almost 1 in 2. Think about all the chronic conditions and all the new ones that we'd never even heard of. What do you think is causing this increase in chronic conditions? Pop me ideas in the chat box, because I'm expecting quite a few, so probably easiest to do it in the chat box. What do you think is causing this increase in chronic conditions? Diet and environment, crap food and stress. Yes, you say it how it is. I agree, Claire. Inflammation, processed food, lifestyle. Yes, all of the above. You're absolutely right. Toxins in the environment as well. Yes, all of those things. Ultra processed diet we're forced to buy, and lifestyle. Yes, I'm going to give you some tips of how to not buy the ultra processed stuff, because there is processed stuff out there that doesn't have the ultra processed stuff in it. So I'll give you a tip as we go. Processed food, environment. Yes, all of those things. So we're all on the same page. So that's what we've got to fight against. And it's not our fault, is it? They put crap in our food. They put crap in our skincare products. Overwhelming anxiety. Yes, stress, the amount of stress. And also sedentary lifestyles. You know, I know all this stuff and I try really hard to get some exercise, but I spend most of my day in this chair doing this we're doing right now. All right, so let's move on. Thank you for answering those. So let's get back to the cognition. The causes of poor cognition, whatever it's coming out as, whether it's at menopause, whether it's after an infection, whenever it is, there are more causes than you might think. When Dr. Bredesen first started testing this stuff, by the way, Dr. Bredesen was a highly acclaimed, really well respected Alzheimer's researcher in some of the top universities in the US. If I shared his CV, you would be astounded. When he came out with this, he had some rotten tomatoes thrown at him. He's getting his reputation back now, but for a few years, nobody really wanted to hear it. So what did he do? He was researching Alzheimer's. He realised the drugs don't work. He wanted to understand better what were the root causes. And so he took a radical approach. He got lots of people with Alzheimer's and he tested them for everything he could think of. Every blood test, toxin test, hormone test, you name it, DNA test. He tested everything he could think of, looking for some commonalities. And he didn't find one. He found loads. There was not just one cause. There was all these causes. And nobody had just one. Nobody had them all. But everybody had a few different mix and match. And in fact, what he found was, depending on the root causes, the presentation was different. So people with toxins tend to lose their words, struggle to find a word, and struggle with calculations. People with like what we would call traditional Alzheimer's, where it's sugar or inflammation, that's the true amnestic style, like you just forget everything from 15 minutes ago, like my mum used to. So the different root causes do actually come out with different presentations sometimes. So that's interesting. Anyway, let's not go through all of the root causes. Let's chunk it into 6 main areas. So the first one that I really want to major on is called atrophic. That just means atrophy of the brain. If our brains are not getting the hormones, the nutrition, and the signaling from our gut bugs that it requires, then we will struggle. And this is one of the main causes of menopausal brain fog. There's some more coming. But obviously, hormone disruption is going to affect your brain fog, basically. And there are a few reasons why twice as many women as men get Alzheimer's, but one of them is the hormone disruption we go through in menopause. So those of you going through menopause right now, any of you with brain fog, this is your wake-up call. This is the kick up the bum to make a few changes and to protect your brain. Okay, what else? Sugar. So we've got, although these are different causes, there is a lot of interlinkage as well. So if you are eating more sugar or more simple carbs, and let's face it, who doesn't? You know, it's really difficult. It's just so easy to grab a sandwich, isn't it? It's really difficult to it's not really difficult. It takes a bit of planning, a bit of preparation, some tiny steps, and then you can obviously improve your diet. But I'm just saying it's really easy to eat sandwiches. It's really easy to eat some of the packaged foods that's full of the processed crap. Now, if you go to the doctor and have a blood test for your blood sugar, if your blood sugar comes out at 42, they're going to say you're pre-diabetic. If it comes out at 41, they're going to say, oh, don't worry, you're fine. You're normal. Dr. Bredesen doesn't like normal. Dr. Bredesen likes optimal. We're aiming for 34 people. So when you go to the doctors, ask for a HbA1c. Why don't I write that in the chat? This is a very particular blood glucose, HbA1c. Ask for that, and you're looking for 34. 34 is the right answer. If it was 36, I'd let you off. But much more than that. We could do some work on getting that down. Now, the issue is that we're designed as a human species to eat sugar all summer because there's fruit available. So we're meant to run around the forest or the jungle or the plains eating loads of fruit, raising our blood sugar, raising our insulin, which is there to help us store the sugar as fat, so that in the winter, when we've got no sugar, we live off our own fat stores and we go into ketosis. More on that later. So the point is, we're not meant to be either one or the other. We're meant to be metabolically flexible. You can use sugar or ketones and fats as a fuel source. It's just we today, the winter never comes. There's always plenty of carbs and sugar about. Now, the way this interacts with your hormones is insulin is a hormone. If your insulin is high, the hormones are going to be out of whack. So if you are struggling with menopausal brain fog, first job, get rid of the sugar. Even if you have to cut down really slowly, every step in the right direction is really going to help you. Okay, so that's tip number 1. And all of that sugar is also inflammatory, but there's lots of other reasons why we might be inflammatory. So there's lots of people in this group who do clean kitchen and bathroom cleaning products, cleaner, with fewer toxins in. There are lots of people in this group who work for Tropic or some such and do cleaner personal care products. All of those toxins, along with what we breathe in and all those other things, they cause inflammation in the body, and it's going to send everything out of whack. So a couple of extra tips would be, please stop using plastic in the kitchen, plastic spatulas, plastic to contain food, plastic to heat food in. It's even worse if you heat the food or freeze the food in plastic. The chemicals in the plastic leach into the food, and even faster if it's warm or frozen. So glass, or for storage, or wrap it in parchment paper, you know, baking sheets inside the plastic. And stop using plastic spatulas and things like that. Get Pyrex jugs, buy bamboo or silicone implements, etc. And that leads into toxins as well, because there's the plastics, there's the home care products. Non-stick, please throw out your non-stick pans. That is so carcinogenic, it's untrue. There's not much we can do about the air. You could get out in nature and walk in the woods and you know, get a bit of fresh air from it, but there's not much we can do really about if we live in the city. What else is listed there? Mold. Almost half of my clients have been exposed to mold, and we discover that they are exposed to mold. There is a test you can do to see if mold or a biotoxin is having an impact, and it only costs £15. So get in touch with me and I can give you the link to do it, and then at least you can rule that out. Like I say, almost half my clients, it's a biotoxin, so that's really scary. Obviously, our vascular health is really important as well. People will have heard of vascular dementia. If we are not getting the blood circulating well, then we're not getting the hormones, nutrition, and signalling to our brain that we need, and the oxygen to our brain. So part of this is being able to breathe at night. So anybody who thinks they might snore, or anybody who thinks they might sleep with their mouth open, breathing through their mouth, you'll know because you wake up with a dry mouth or a soggy pillow. We need to stop that. I've got tips and ways to stop these things. Very simple, cheap, you know, lots of tips that are virtually no cost that I can help you with. So let me know if that's an issue. And of course, head trauma, which doesn't necessarily mean a massive accident or boxing. I mean, it does mean those things, but even just repetitive, like heading the ball. So I know that's probably less of an issue for menopause, but lots of you might have kids or grandkids who are playing sports. So I want to give you a tip right now, because I've just said something really scary that affects your family potentially. So I'll give you a tip right now, and that is high dose DHA. DHA is one element of omega-3s, you know, fish oil. DHA can turn that around so quickly, just so very quickly. They did a test in America. They took American football players, from little children who aren't even supposed to have any contact when they're playing, right up through college football, right up to professional footballers. They put them in two groups. They tested them all. Everyone had markers for dementia, even the little kids. They put one group on high dose DHA, which according to Dr. Bredesen is about 2 grams of DHA a day. And I've got a really good brand that does 5-to-1 DHA to EPA. So normally you don't get much DHA in the cheaper brands. So let me know if you want that. Anyway, put one group on high dose DHA, the other group on a placebo. These guys got better, no more markers. These guys did not. Obviously, they gave them the DHA afterwards. Any kind of head injury, so that could be falling over and cracking your head on something, that could be a car crash, it could be, you know, just not even bashing your head, but like this, you know, your what do they call that in the car? Yes, whiplash, thank you. Thanks, Julie. That whiplash, because it rocks. So anything like that. But equally, emotional trauma. Let's shove that in there as well. Emotional trauma has a big impact as well. So all of these things that we can work on. Please don't worry. It's not too late. Get on the DHA. It is very neuroprotective and it will help. And here is the kicker. What you are doing right now could have an effect up to 30 years from now. And this is the interesting thing about menopause. Menopause isn't actually about the drop in estrogen that is the problem in its own right. As a human species, well, half of us, are supposed to have a drop in estrogen. We make loads and loads of estrogen. I know it's a bit more lumpy than that, month in, month out. But we have loads and loads of estrogen that we need for reproductive purposes. And then we have menopause, and I know it's a bit more lumpy. And then we make just a small amount that the rest of our organs, all of our organs, including our brain, need that. It's not so much that we're not getting enough estrogen. It is that a lot of these things that we've been talking about are endocrine disruptors. The drinking, I'm sorry, drinking, all of these toxins in the home care, personal care products, etc. All of these things disrupt our hormones. Um, and, eating rubbish and drinking, we got away with it for years because estrogen is very protective. The symptoms that we experience in menopause are not because of a drop of estrogen per se. They are because the protection has been taken away and now you are feeling the effects of everything that you've done up till now. So again, kick up the bum to start looking after ourselves. And it is totally doable. I turned myself around in 3 months and, I don't want to put myself up as a paragon of virtue. I cheat. I just want to make you realize that actually every little step that you do will help and you don't have to do everything. It's just, finding the things that work for you. Okay, so the solution. I have been depressing you with all the causes. Let's look at the solution. So the solution could just be lifestyle factors. If you were more worried than that, if you did have parents who had dementia and you're worried it might, be linked, then I work with doctors who can do all the Bredesen blood tests and recommend supplements only to get you over the hump. We don't do drugs because they have side effects and the side effects are worse than what the drug doesn't really improve. But if you are less worried than that, if you've got no reason to believe it's going anywhere worse, let's just do lifestyle factors. So nutrition, that's a broccoli for very good reason. Broccoli is full of sulforaphane and that is really good for helping us detox. Cut out the sugar. It's up to you. This is your life. You take it as far as you want. If you want to go on a ketogenic diet, great. If you just want to cut down slowly on sugar and see how you get on, you will have an improvement. Exercise obviously is important. And there's 3 things that we need to look at. We need aerobic exercise to get the blood moving, to get the oxygen and nutrients to the brain. We also need strength exercise. Our muscles use a lot of glucose. That will take it out of you. I mean, everything we eat is going to have some glucose in. I mean, I'm just basically saying don't eat sugar. And then if you want to eat a small amount of fruit, don't go mad on fruit, but, a couple of pieces of fruit a day, a couple of portions a day, the more you build up your muscles, the more they will use that. And there is a strong correlation between muscle mass and cognitive function, high cognitive function. Sleep, we all know if you don't get any sleep, you don't feel very well. And of course, in menopause, if you're waking up for every 5 minutes sweating, throwing the covers off, and then waking up 5 minutes later freezing, that doesn't help. So I don't want to bang on too much about sleep here because I do recognise that if you're not sleeping, the last thing you need is me piling on stress about sleeping. But I've got loads of tips. If you struggle to sleep, let's have a call. You can tell me what you've tried already and I can tell you what else there might be. Stress management, also really important. Again, and if you're sitting there thinking, oh, here we go, blooming meditation, I hate it. I don't like meditation. It really doesn't work for me. But I've got other things that I do that give the same benefits. If you love meditation, by the way, it's brilliant. It's so good for you. But I'm just trying to make this very accessible that you don't have to do any specific things. You can do the things that suit you. Lots of brain stimulation. So whether that is learning something new every day, learning a language, learning to dance, learning to play an instrument, listening to music, playing brain training games. Brain HQ, let me put that in the chat box. Brain HQ is one of the best. I mean, play them all, but Brain HQ is one of the best in that it's got independent studies proving it improves cognitive function. And then detox your world. So use the Yucca app. Lots of you might have heard me talk about that. I'm always banging on about it. So the Yucca app, totally free. Scan any food product, any personal care product, and it will tell you if it's got nasties in it. And it will give you better alternatives. And they're not always more expensive. Somebody texted me the other day, they found a 45p shower gel in Lidl that was 100%, 100 out of 100. So detox your world. And then I'm not going to talk about supplements here because A, it's outside my scope of practice, and B, you just really can't be generic about these things. It depends what you personally need. But there are ways, free ways, to establish if your diet isn't giving you every nutrient you need. So again, that's something I could advise on if you wanted to have a chat with me. I haven't got long. I was planning to do these 4 questions, and you can hear I've been talking really fast. I'm going to give you these 4 questions. I will do them, but I'm going to go really, really quickly. So just pop something in the chat box and I'll move on, and then I'll maybe pick up some extra answers out of the chat box at the end if we've got time. So question 1, if you're going to answer this in the chat box, just put a 1. What would be the benefits of working on your brain health right now to improve your focus and clarity? So if you're going to answer that one, put a 1 first so I know what you're answering, because I'm going to go fast. Question 2, what would be the downsides of working on wellness and brain health right now? Again, if you're going to answer that in the chat box, put a 2 first. Number 3, what would be the positives of leaving this session without making any changes? Again, answer that with a 3 in the chat box. And number 4, what would be the consequences of leaving this session without making any changes? Feel free to answer those in the chat box. Give me a 1, 2, 3 or 4 so that when I come back to this later in the Q&A session, if we've got time, I can answer some of those. And if not, I can save the chat and answer them privately later. All right. So I'm going to move on, but feel free to keep answering those. This is how I tend to work with a client. We do a free online cognitive test first, so you can see exactly how you're doing and what we need to work on. Then those different areas of lifestyle, I've got a little free assessment that you can do to assess how you're doing on each of them, and therefore that will help you prioritize what you want to work on. We can looking at new ways of eating, and that is reducing sugar and simple carbs, but also making sure you're getting all the nutrients. But I just do that one tiny step at a time, one tiny change at a time. So I tend to start with clients and say, what do you like to eat? What's your favorite recipes? And then we just make some ingredient swaps. So we're just making tiny changes to the whole lifestyle, one step at a time, prioritized by you. And then at the end, we can reassess the same cognitive test and see how much you've improved. So we can put a proper number on it. You'll feel better, but I just think it's really good to put a number on it. And finally, not finally, 2 slides, almost my last slide. I just wanted to bring your attention to this because I'm launching this. It actually launched, well, it's launched. The first session is on the 12th. So I'm doing a new membership group. It's purely education, 2 live sessions per month where I will go through a different aspect of lifestyle. It's £25 a month. Join and leave when you want. There's no contract. If you join and then you don't like it, you can leave any time. We'll do all the things that I've talked about. We'll do the free online cognitive test. I will do a one-to-one onboarding session with you, free, just to talk about your specific needs and give you some pointers. I have got a course that is online, and you can get half price access to that if you wanted it. You don't have to. But I'm going to put everybody together in a Facebook group so that you can share info. And obviously, when I do the 1 hour fortnightly education sessions, I will put the recordings in that group. So if you can't attend live, you can catch up. And for you ladies, I'm going to make the first month £15 rather than 25. So you can book using that QR code, use the discount code LoveBiz10, LoveBiz10. And frankly, you're getting it free because you're going to get a free copy of my book, which is £15. So if you were thinking of buying the book, just join. You're going to get the book anyway, so it won't cost you any more. And you'll get a couple of sessions and see how you feel about that as well. Okay, and so finally, if that's not going to happen, I do a free brain health guide. It's 6 emails and it just drip feeds some tips and things. That's my QR code to book in for a free chat. That's the same QR code that I'd use for a one-to-one after any networking anyway. I've got an existing Facebook group. That'll be a different one from the private one I'm setting up as part of the group I've just talked about, or you can buy my book today. That was fast, but I did it in 45 minutes.
Well done, Lindsay.
So we're over to you. Like, any questions? Happy to
Well,
for any
let's
questions.
just wrap it up first, if that's okay.
Yes. Sorry, go
Firstly,
ahead.
it's all right, Lindsay. Massive, massive thank you to Lindsay this afternoon. That was so informative. And yeah, some real good golden nuggets there. You appreciate it, but it's only when somebody talks about it that actually really kind of sinks in, and lots of posing questions. So at this moment, I'm going to stop recording. Say thank you very much to Lindsay, and we'll open it up for Q&A. So thank you so much for joining us and having this afternoon with you, Lindsay. So I will just stop recording now.
Lovely. Thank you very much.